Hello, and welcome to The Fool and the Philosopher.
The Philosopher and the Fool. I wanted to see where I was going to go, but Simon drove me insane.
Because it's kind of like Gormenghast without an interesting character.
I was interested in everything going on. I wasn't interested in the characters until Simon left. Like him coming out into the catacombs and meeting up with the troll.
So I think what you could do, right, is you take Gormenghast, but you rename the main character, like that little prince boy, the fat prince in Gormenghast. You rename him to Frodo. And then once Gormenghast ends, then you just plug Lord of the Rings in at the end. And then you have the Dragonbone chair, basically.
Maybe. I mean, it deviates. You're not done the book, right?
No. I do think one of the... Although that said, you listened to the audiobook, right?
Yeah.
So the book... The blurb on the book spoils the ending of the book.
Does it?
Like, I haven't read the whole thing because I noticed it right away, but there's this, like, 250 pages of just Simon living in this little castle, and then the king dies, and then it's about Simon being like, oh no, the king is dead, and then there's another, like, 200 pages of Simon walking about 2 kilometers, and then there's another 50 pages of some random people on a cliff watching the sea. But then if you read the blurb, it's like, with the dragon slain, the Storm King is free, and therefore the evil forces... And it's like, wait, there is nothing about this in the book right now. It's like, is this why people bought the book? You tricked them. You said it would be about the... You said it would be about the death of the dragon. And you know, every time they talk about Prester John, yeah. I'm like, wow, this sounds great.
I'd like to read a story about Prester John. He's a badass.
Can we just have a book about Prester John instead?
Prester John's so cool.
And that, like, his best friend, who they fought on the battlefield, the greatest of all knights, who then kicks in the ball and takes him down.
And his jester, the dwarf.
Yeah. Towser.
Yeah. Prester John has a wizard that works for him.
Yeah. And now the Dragonbone chair setup is actually super cool. Like, not the book setup, but the idea of the world. Because basically there's this castle that is so ancient, nobody, even the first people in the realm, the elves, have no idea who built it. It was there long before they were. So since time immemorial, this castle has stood there. And in the castle are the statues of every king that has ever lived there. And there's only been like 6 kings.
Yeah.
Which, that's kind of crazy on its own. But what happens every time a king takes the castle is they die horribly.
Yeah.
And half the time it's because of a dragon that lives in the castle kills them. But then Prester John takes the castle, and the book's called The Dragonbone Chair.
Yeah.
When the dragon comes to finish him off, he instead kills the dragon because he's got Excalibur, basically.
Yeah, and then he turns its skeleton into a throne.
And turns it into a throne.
And the throne glares at people.
So, but isn't that such a cool idea? Like, there's this castle, this mystical castle, everyone knows about it, but anyone who's ever claimed kingship of it dies.
Yeah.
And then Prester John goes there and he says, I am the king. And the dragon rises up from the depths because the castle is built on, like, millions of layers of castles, basically. And this giant warren system that goes through. Because, as far as I understand, there's like a half-mile high cliff by the ocean that the castle is built on top of. But that entire distance from the castle to the ocean is just tunnels.
Yes.
And
the tunnels extend out several kilometers away from it.
And those tunnels would be like an ideal location for any D&D session.
Yes.
Because there's like one of the things, he enters this room of like a fairy king, basically, with like this beautiful bed and tables and ornately carved statues and portraits and a statue of like the Virgin Mary, basically. And he touches it and the whole room turns to dust because it's so old.
Yeah.
It's just like, phew. It's like, that's a great D&D setting for just like a dungeon crawl. But there's a dragon that lives in the heart of this place, and the dragon comes up when someone dares claim the castle, but then Prester John actually wins.
Yeah.
And Prester John, he's kind of like, Chimerus is a better knight, but Prester John is like, he's almost as good, and he's also pragmatic. He knows how to get things done, and so But then...
He's old, too.
He's like 89 when he dies, I think.
Yeah.
So he's not like ancient, but he's pretty old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or is he 99?
No, he's over 90.
Maybe he's 99 when he dies. Yeah, I think he might be 99. Then Morganus, I think, is younger, but he's like only 10 years or so younger, I think.
Yeah.
But then... And like his workshop is pretty fun. It's got some cool... Like, there's a lot of cool imagery. there's like the green tower or whatever, like that slender, impossibly tall tower.
The red. Oh yeah, the green tower, the green angel tower.
Yeah, the Green Angel Tower. So it's just this giant
Yeah.
spire coming out of the castle, but it's super narrow. That's pretty cool. That's like their bell tower.
Yeah.
And the Dragonbone chair is set in this giant empty room with a tiny little window way up on the top of the wall, which it's like sounds like a miserable place, but that's where it is. And but it's too much. Like the bad son imprisoning the good son. Like it's so rote, and like it's a story.
But it was the story that made it rote. That's
I've
the thing.
never liked that setup. Like I've never liked the good king with the corrupt son. I don't know. Like I guess Marcus Aurelius is a real life example of that happening, so it can happen. But Hilarious is, or Elias, I guess. Elias is too evil. Like I think now this could change because oftentimes people appear crazy or evil when you haven't understood their goals. For instance, Elias might be trying to get people to hate him, right? Like he might think, or for instance, his brother can carry Thorn. Is that the name of the sword? His father's sword,
Uh,
or is that the name of Elias's sword?
Thor.
The sword that has the nail of the cross worked into it.
That is memory.
Okay, so memory then, or is the trilogy actually named after the swords?
Yeah.
Memory, Sword, Thorn.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That might be Thorn actually, but it's one of those.
Yeah. So, anyways, it's basically Excalibur. It's got
Yeah.
the nail from the cross worked into the hilt, and he can't touch it because he's evil. Like he's done something that's wrong. It seems pretty clear to me it's necromancy. His wife, who he loved hugely, died. I think he's trying to bring her back. He's fallen into bad ways with this evil priest, and I think that's why he can't touch the sword, because he used to be a great man, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why he can't touch the sword. And I think what that does is his brother can touch the sword, and so to make himself feel better, he has to diminish his brother in his own eyes. So he mocks his brother, he slights him, because that way he can feel okay about. I was like, well, he's not that good anyways, so if he can touch the sword, who cares? I don't want that sword anyways, right? So I think that's why he acts so harsh, and everyone in the castle that he's mean to, they remind him of his father and what a failure he is compared to his father. And so it's like, well, I'll show them who's boss. But like the giant Viking guy, he's like the most trusted advisor of the king.
Yeah.
But if I can make him seem like a bad guy, then and all my friends are saying I'm cool, then I must be okay. So I think that's why he's acting the way he's acting. I don't think it's just because he's suddenly this mustache twirling evil villain, right? Like he's got a little comb, a little mustache comb.
Yes.
All right, so I think that's why he's doing that. And then Pirates, it is kind of interesting. Basically, I don't know what his motivation is. It's probably to awaken the Storm King, I'm guessing. But why would you do that? That's kind of weird. But Morganis describes it as you can become a wizard either by putting a ton of work in and very slowly and very carefully gaining enough knowledge to keep you safe, to gain a little bit more knowledge, to gain and so on and so on and so on, and build up your knowledge on top of each other. Or you can just skip to the end and let everything that comes by grant you knowledge, and it will drive you insane and evil and mad. And that's what Pirates has done.
Yeah.
And eventually he'll die, but Pirates has gotten lucky, so he's...
It is one of the interesting things about that series is that was before magic also was what magic was. Like what we think of it.
In what way?
It's closer to Lord of the Rings magic with like looking into people's eyes and reading their mind or invisible forces.
Right.
It took quite a while for magic to become throwing a fireball or shooting lightning.
Well, you say that, but like Morganis, that's like the only spell he ever casts is a giant fireball, really.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is done in a way where he just kind of like spontaneously combusts.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty cool way to do it, actually.
Yeah.
But he what was the other? Oh yeah, Game of Thrones, right? Like this, Dragon Ball Cherish is ripping off Game of Thrones. Like you've got the Red Priest, who's evil and who goes after the king, who was the brother of the other good
I
king.
think it was written before Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones was written in the late 80s, I think,
Yeah.
and this I think was written in the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm pretty sure Game of Thrones is. It would be weird if it wasn't heavily influenced by it because they're so similar in some areas.
But the one fact I know about the last book, which is Return to Green Angel Tower,
Yeah.
is it's the longest book ever written at the time. And they actually, for a very long time, you couldn't buy Return to Green Angel Tower. You had to buy Return to Green Angel Tower Part 1 and Return to Green Angel Tower Part 2 because they couldn't put it into one book. It was the same problem as the Malzahn
Well,
final book.
this Dragonbone Chair book, right? It's not a very big book,
Yeah.
like physically, but there's like 750 pages in this tiny
Yes.
little thing, and the text is like a millimeter tall.
Yeah, and so
Like it's
I think Return to Green Angel Tower is 10,000 pages.
no, it can't be. I think it's like 1,000 something.
Or no, it might be 1,000, sorry. But it's very, very long. That's what I meant. It's 1,000 pages.
Yeah. The longest book I've ever read, which I'm pretty sure is the longest book out
Yeah.
there, was 9,000 pages.
Yeah, sorry. It's 1,000 pages long.
But Dragonbone Chair is longer. It feels long.
Feels like you're stuck in eternity. Yeah, well, the book, you know how some people say like you have to get to a certain point in the series, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the series gets good when you're halfway through the last book.
But why would anyone like he was a famous author before he wrote this book.
Yeah.
And so maybe people are like, "Oh yeah,
This book, I think the series did relatively well.
Dragonbone Chair is considered like the classic of fantasy."
Yeah.
Of I read a comment once. Someone said, you know, the story of the orphan boy growing up to become the great king and returning home is like basically the classic hero's journey, right?
Yeah.
It's like, why don't people write stories like that anymore? They're always these, you know, just the simple. You take a poor peasant's boy, and Christopher Poloni actually replied to that comment. It was on YouTube or something. He's like, I agree, because he wrote Aragon, which was that
Yeah.
story, right? Star Wars is the same thing.
Yeah.
But someone else replied to it and said, the reason no one does it anymore is because Dragonbone Chair did it, and they perfected it, and so you can't do it anymore.
I feel like, unfortunately, you might have some spoilers to the book.
So, 1988
Yeah.
is when Dragonbone Chair was written,
Okay.
and Game of Thrones was written 1996. Oh, a bit later than I thought. Okay,
Yeah.
so 8 years later.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones came out after I was born. How about that?
Now, you know, one of the really big differences between this book trilogy and Game of Thrones is
Oh, look at that. Oh, sorry, say your thing first.
the series was finished.
Oh, well, Game of Thrones. Martin's only like 60 something. Like, he's not that old.
It almost wasn't finished. So when
Tad Williams is still writing.
Yeah.
He's still writing books.
Yeah. So when Tad Williams got to the third book, he had this interview and he's saying, "I don't know how to end this book," and he said it almost killed him. He's like, "It's either me or the book are going to be finished." That's what he said about the third book, because he had so much to do, and that's why the book is so long. Is he had to tie it all together.
Well, it takes him like 300 pages to do what most authors can do in a paragraph. So I'm not surprised it took him a while. Like, that intro is so long and nothing happens.
Yeah, it's great.
It's like this boy works in the kitchens and he goes and catches frogs, and he goes and works in the kitchen, and he goes and plays in the moat.
I think I also had the advantage of when I was listening to the Dragonbone Chair, I was working in a greenhouse.
Mm.
And so one of the main jobs I did in the greenhouse is there was these big bags of soil. I think they were like 90-pound bags of soil. And they're usually 90-pound bags of soil, but these ones were all 70-pound bags of soil.
Yeah.
You're just looking at the size comparison.
Yeah. The Game of Thrones is longer.
Hmm.
It's 800 pages, and
Yeah.
the text is about the same size. Actually, no, I think it's a bit smaller in the Dragonbone Chair.
It is.
I think it's a little bit small. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
much more comfortable to read.
Yeah.
This is like...
Yeah, so, so there's these bags that are meant to be 90 pounds, but they're 70 pounds. And what happened is basically when the truck delivered them, and they sat throughout the winter, they got dehydrated.
Yeah.
And so we couldn't.
They have the same cover art.
They do.
They've both got a wolf on the back,
Yeah.
and they've both got an idiot who knows nothing on the front.
Yeah. Yeah.
They got John. Actually, that might be Eddard Stark, but that might be Jon Snow, and then that's Simon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway.
Yeah, but you're working at a greenhouse.
Yeah. So there's bags of soil. And so my job is I'd take these 70-pound bags, I'd put them on a table, break them down, basically, because it's all dry, this is giant cube. So I'd break it down, then I'd spray water on it, mix it, then break it down, spray water, mix it. And then I'd take cups and basically fill them with the dirt, and we'd plant plants in them. And it's a very enjoyable, simple job. You just basically, you're like crushing dirt with your hand, you're working in soil. Very repetitive, and you can do it for hours on end, and it doesn't really strain the body all that much.
And so you're just listening to...
The Dragonbone chair while doing that.
Look at this. Not this one. This one. Robert... it's brilliant. This is a testimonial on Game of Thrones. Yeah. Robert Jordan.
Yeah.
He was praising Game of Thrones back in the day.
Yeah.
This is the... second printing, I think.
Yeah.
No, this is the first printing.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the first edition of the book, and I guess he sent it to Robert Jordan before it got published. And so Robert Jordan was up for it. He was like, Game of Thrones is going to be big. Another author who'd never finished his book. Yeah. Who wrote very long books.
Yes, they're very slow. Where nothing happens.
Well, I'm kind of wondering, like, I don't think Wheel of Time was this slow. Like, that was like Wheel of Time had 80 pages at the start where it was in their village and nothing happened.
What about the later books in the middle section where Rand's in a box?
The middle section, stuff is happening, it's just happening boringly and too slowly.
If you like the Rand in the box part of Wheel of Time, just you wait until you get to the third book of this series.
Well, I think, like, Wheel of Time... if you got rid of books like 2 through 9, it would be a better series. Like, if you really want the proper Wheel of Time experience, read book 1, read book 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then you'll have a great time.
There's parts in those books I like. Like any part with Matt.
They need to be like...
Sorry, not book 2. Any part with Matt in book 2 sucks. Any part in book 3...
No, when Matt is stabbed, like, he's miserable to read.
Yeah, but is it book 4 when he's unsatisfied?
Maybe. Whenever he starts and when he fights the foxes...
Yeah, when he gets hanged, he becomes very interesting.
That's like book 9.
Really?
Yeah. That's the artwork on book 9 is him...
being hanged.
No, it's him visiting the Tower of the Foxes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like the last Robert Jordan book, I think, possibly. Maybe even starting...
But Matt's fun before he got hanged.
Yeah, he had his moments. Like, I like him starting the hand and all that.
So it was Brandon Sanderson who wrote the scene of Matt escaping on the rooftop from the Aes Sedai. Like, that's when his luck really starts to kick in, and it's kind of absurd.
It might be. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've read Wheel of Time. It's been 11 years.
Yeah, when Rand's Tavierness kicks in, it gets depressing.
Well, it kind of like people who should die don't die,
and people who are just minding their business get crushed by a building.
Yeah, but it's like it evens out, right? Like it's neutral, sort of. It's kind of...
Whereas Matt's just takes care of him.
Yeah. Well, that's not Matt's Tavernness. That's something else.
No, his Tavierness takes care of him, and I think his luck makes his Tavierness more in favor of him.
Because the
like, wasn't Matt described as Taviern as possible?
Maybe, but I think Rand is more like Rand can affect like cities, right? Like, like there's that town where no one can die. Like that's because of Rand, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
They basically alter the world, not negatively or positively, just their existence warps reality around them, though.
Yeah.
And then what's his name is there?
Perrin?
Yeah.
Perrin's also Taviern.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, he's there. He's not nearly as... Once he starts doing the dream stuff, that's kind of cool. I like the part where he starts hunting the
wolf.
The wolf. No, not the wolf. The Slayer.
Yeah.
When he starts hunting Slayer. I think that's the guy's name, actually, Slayer.
Yeah.
That part I like.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just like teleports behind you.
Also-
Nothing personnel, kid.
Also, Perrin's Odin hammer's pretty cool. Or I guess his Thor hammer he gets.
Is it? Isn't it just a hammer?
No. It gets struck by lightning.
But it's just still a hammer, right?
I don't think so.
It's like he... And the whole point of his hammer was like, I choose peace, not war, right? So it's not... Like, what's the point of having a lightning... You're going to make a fancy horseshoe with your lightning hammer?
Well, no, what's interesting about is Perrin chooses peace, not war, but the universe has different plans for him, and it makes it into a war hammer. So even though he chose peace, it doesn't matter. He still has to do war. And that's kind of the interesting part of that whole scene.
Perrin's kind of like, what, Tyr, I guess? Or is he Thor?
He's Tyr and Thor
Because
combined.
Randolph Thor is Tyr, because he's missing a hand.
He's Odin, though.
But Randolph... No, Odin is Matt.
Yeah.
Matt's missing an eye and has a hat.
Yeah, but...
Matt is clearly Odin.
Yeah, but Rand is also Odin.
And Rand is Tyr because he's missing a hand and he's a master swordsman.
Yeah.
But then...
Yeah, Perrin is Thor.
But then Thor has a hammer and Perrin has a... So
Yeah, Perrin is Thor.
he mixed them all up.
Yeah.
He made a mistake, clearly. He was like, oops, I forgot. It's probably on purpose. Right. March Madness?
I'm sorry, it's just... Imagine you're author, which is... Like, people are like, oh, he's so brilliant, it's probably on purpose. And you manage to, like, write a grand series. And then you're just sitting there, like, at your writing desk, it's like, I just rolled with it, I didn't have any plans, I don't know what happened.
So, actually, what's his name? Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
He is a master at Bartitsu.
Yeah.
Martial art. That's not a real martial art, that doesn't exist. But the author made a mistake in... Barjitsu, maybe is the name of the actual martial art. But then he's like, I gotta stick with it now. And in Thomas Covenant, there's a weapon called Lorix's krill.
Yeah.
Which is...
A fish.
Which is... Well, no, it's a dagger which can slice through anything.
Yeah.
Even concepts.
Yeah.
And he in an interview later, Stephen Donaldson was like, why didn't I call it a Chris? There's a dagger called a Chris. That's what I meant to call it. And then I have to write in every book, krill, every time. You just make these mistakes and people are like, oh, it's so brilliant. He's got these subtle differences. No, it was a mistake.
Yeah.
Come on.
If you could have a Pokemon,
Yeah.
which one would you have?
Jirachi?
Okay, if you have Pokemon and you can't have Jirachi, which would you have?
Ghastly from that episode where he can...
If you have a Pokemon and it's not a legendary,
Ghastly's not legendary.
and it's not a god ghost.
Is Entei a legendary?
Yes.
Is Arceus a legendary?
Yes. I'm basically saying, there's like 3 Pokemon that can grant wishes. You can't have any of those.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. You can't have any of the wish granting Pokemon.
Can I have Celebi?
So you want a time traveler?
Yeah, maybe. I think that could be cool. Or what about Mew? Mew can learn any move. She can learn Wish. I think Wish is just a fairy type move, actually. So any fairy Pokemon, really.
Alright, no legendaries.
Okay, Smeargle.
Or Smeargle.
Hmm?
Or Smeargle.
Ditto?
Or Ditto. Well, no, you can't have Ditto. Ditto takes the form of other things. You can't come up with any form.
But he could like take the form of a...
There's no other Pokemon.
Oh, there's no other Pokemon.
You get a Pokemon.
Oh, okay.
Caught in a Master Ball. So, and you have all the badges.
Chansey? With metronome?
You're going to take the off chance of it exploding. There are no Pokemon Center. That being said, you can sleep in your bed and they'll get better.
Yeah. And also, Pokemon are, they're pretty resilient. You just give them some water.
Self-destruct doesn't kill a Pokemon.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just, it would blow up your house.
But stop trying to get wishes.
Yeah. That's what I'm basically getting at.
Okay.
And don't choose Make Cargo because you don't want a thermonuclear detonation.
Which Pokemon would I want? Like, time travel would be cool with Celebi.
Yeah.
If that's... But no...
Yeah, you can have the legendaries. I'm just saying, like, no wishes.
Ho-Oh? Oh,
or
right.
God.
So no Ho-Oh.
No wishes are gone.
Okay.
But you can get the Master of Time. You can get the Master of Space. You could get Pokemon Satan.
Could I go to
All right, how's this for a deal?
Yeah.
You could have 3 Pokemon or a legendary.
Okay.
So we'll make so you can get legendary, and there's no wishes, so you can't get the 3-wish Pokemon.
I would go to the Republican Party in the United States, and I would say, if you give me $100 million, I will prove that climate change isn't real. And then I would send out Lugia. And
I thought you were going to get Castiform.
Okay, but actually, Pokemon I would want. So what am I thinking? Utility, just how fun it would be to have. How like a defender maybe it could be, or something that could benefit me, like like actually a Chansey, right? Like
Or a Meowth.
yeah, like Payday, Helping Hand. I think like a Pokemon that could heal you would be amazing.
Even there are Pokemon that can build stuff. Because Pokemon are used in construction. So having like a hit, what is it called? The four-armed one.
Hitmonchamp.
Yeah, Hitmonchamp.
No, the four-armed one is Machamp.
Yeah, Machamp.
Yeah, Machamp.
Or having Alakazam.
Yeah.
Or if you had your... Alright, so we have 3. So Lopunny,
Vaporeon and a Typhlosion.
and a Gardevoir.
No, I think I would go for...
If you have a Gardevoir,
Yeah.
it can shoot black holes at people who threaten you.
I'm not getting...
And it can also create force fields.
I'm not getting enough threats to really... Like, I think it could be handy just to have that as a fallback, but...
Like, you could have a Typhlosion.
Now you're talking. So...
Or a Ninetale.
Are we going, like humans can learn Pokemon moves in the Pokemon world?
It's a Pokemon taken from the Pokemon world here.
Okay. So we can't learn, like, their moves
No.
or something. Okay.
But if you, like a Ninetale's tail is pretty... Like, they're pretty powerful.
Are we going with, like, Magcargo gives off heat and...
Yes, we're going with their...
Alakazam has 5,000 IQ?
Yeah, we're going with their
Okay.
Pokemon Pokedex entry.
Okay. Because Alakazam would revolutionize Earth in, like, a day.
Yeah.
Right, with 5,000 IQ?
Yeah, but I can't... It goes Alakazam.
But it could, like, create something.
Alakazam.
You could, like, mime with its spoons.
And then I'd bring ice cream over to it and go, no, 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 no.
And I get 3, eh?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. I think Alakazam.
Because of the IQ.
Yeah. Chansey.
Why do you want a Chansey?
Because they know... they know Helping Hand, I think it's called, and they also know Soft Boiled, I think it's called.
Oh, Chansey's the one with the egg in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Soft Boiled is the one I'm thinking of. They can heal for like 100 HP,
Yeah.
other things.
Yeah.
So I just have a
I
little...
mean, you could drink the lemonade.
It
all the
doesn't
Pokemon
work.
world.
It doesn't work. But no, I'd get a Chansey to heal me. It'd be great.
Yeah.
And Alakazam, because of its intelligence, I think.
And a Vaporeon.
No, I don't think so. I'm more of a Flareon. In terms of evolutions...
Don't use the word in terms.
Actually, I did beat the Elite Four with a Vaporeon because it absorbs water attacks, which is very useful as a switch out. It heals when you switch it out, basically. Cloyster has an ability called Chain Link, which is really handy in a Pokemon battle.
Yeah.
So
You're not king of Pokemon. I mean, what's it called? The evolution of the electric Pokemon, the one with the...
Zapdos,
No, the one with the antlers. Or its head is a...
Electabuzz.
Yeah, it's an evolution... Electabuzz can power a city.
I don't think I want to be powering a city with my Pokemon.
You don't want to enslave a Pokemon to power a city?
No. Well, I think they enjoy it. I hope.
Yeah, they do.
But I think I'd rather... Well, my thought was kind of Meowth. Not for Payday, because I don't think Payday's breaking the economy anytime soon. But actually because, like, I'll get Team Rocket's Meowth. Because he can talk. He can translate Pokemon, right?
You can't get Team Rocket's Meowth. He's legendary.
Okay. So I can't... Can I get... Is there any other Pokemon that can talk?
Legendaries.
Yeah, but I'm not allowed a legendary, right?
That's right.
Right. So yeah, Chansey, Alakazam... Mr. Mime can talk.
Mr. Mime.
Yeah, he can mime things out.
So your Mr. Mime would communicate the thoughts of your Alakazam.
I'm sure nothing would go wrong. Do I want a Mr. Mime though? It'd be creepy. I think
It would also have questionable relationships with your wife while you're off traveling and your 10-year-old son is throughout the world.
Okay, what about, like, is Latios legendary?
Yes.
They can turn into a human.
Yeah. They can't talk, though.
Can I get one legendary if I want?
One legendary or 3 Pokemon.
So I could have a Latios.
Yeah.
Or a Latias.
Yes, you could kiss a Pokemon.
They're like children though, aren't they?
Yeah, she kisses Ash.
Yeah, but Ash is also a child.
Yeah.
I'm not a child.
Yes.
Can I have like an older Latias? Asking for a friend.
I mean, at this point, you might as well get a Ditto.
Well,
It just had that plain expression on his face wherever it
Ditto
shapeshifted
isn't
into.
really like... It's not quite the same as like... It's not like a human.
I mean, if you're looking for a relationship, just get a Lafani.
Ugh.
It's a Pokemon, Batman. There's no laws against it.
Now, if I want a relationship with a Pokemon, okay, I'm going for... Oh, I haven't really thought about this actually.
Alakazam was once a human.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
He's kind of hairy.
He's so powerful with his psychics that he turned into a Pokemon. That's one of the other entries, I think.
Like a ghastly. Well, that's like poisonous gas. That's probably a bad relationship.
Yeah. Coffin. If I was to get 3,
Yeah.
I would get Muck, Coffin,
And a second Muck.
and Wheezy.
Muck or Grimer would actually be a great choice.
They eat pollution, don't they?
Yeah.
Sorry, not them. That trash Pokemon.
I'd get an Amoonguss. I'd get a Fungus. And I'd get Uber Mosquito or whatever it's called.
That's a legendary.
Oh.
A mouse house.
Mousehold. Mousehold is fun to play as, to have in your party. Who's like a... If I got a Kangaskhan, could I ride around in its pouch?
Yes. But the baby would be there too.
Like, what are your criteria for Pokemon? What do you think? Like, utility?
I mean, a meal tank.
Okay.
Because that's food.
I mean, all Pokemon are food.
Yeah, but a milk cake's milk is like magic.
If
I don't think I'd be lactose intolerant to its milk.
if you ate a mouse, like half a mousehold,
No.
and then you slept,
No.
would you get the rest of the mousehold back?
No. It's not how they work.
Because there's like a bunch of them, right?
Yeah, it's not how they work.
Oh. Or if you like ate a Doug trio,
No.
just a single Doug, I would take a Diglett, and then I'd get a shovel. And... Actually, I don't want to know. What if it's really long? Like, really, really long.
What if it's just a nub?
Yeah. Well, I'm okay with that. There's actually, I think Brock carries one at one point.
Yeah.
If it's a little nub, I'm okay with it. Like, it's meant to be a mole, right?
Yeah.
But if it's like...
What if it's a buff man?
That would be okay, too. But if it's like 20 feet long, and I don't like that. Like, I don't know if you've ever dug on a beach in, like, British Columbia and you cut a worm in half.
Yeah.
Like, you get your shovel under the Diglett.
No. Let's see. I would probably get the Alakazam because it can teleport.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
It can build stuff psychically. It can use revive.
On itself.
No, it's not itself.
I think that's on itself.
Well, let's see. So psychic and teleport.
Yeah.
Are both very good moves. I'd get a Ghastly so I can have it learn Cursed. No. I definitely think I'd get Alakazam.
Yeah.
Because it's like the powerful psychic Pokemon with an IQ of 500.
5,000.
IQ of 5,000. So,
I think
at that point, is that like so smart that it's like beyond logic?
I think this, like, the highest possible IQ is like a 190 or something.
Yeah. Like,
So,
is that beyond logic?
I don't know. I think that's like something. I mean, Pokemon World is...
Kind of utopic.
Yeah. It's got a nice world going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so teleport with Alakazam, that's another good reason to have him. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
basically choosing Pokemon you can get superpowers with, right? So you get your
Yeah.
Chansey for your healing, you get your teleportation for your Alakazam, then it can make the world a utopia, maybe.
And then you make cargo in a turbine
Then,
to produce.
well, I don't think like
Make cargo wipes out Earth if it exists.
I also don't think the scale is enough. I don't think it matters. Like you would need a big scale, right? Like,
Yeah.
Like, do you want? Or I think my final Pokemon. I just want something. Is there a Pokemon that gives the best hugs or something?
There's Pokemon with fur so soft. A Chime. Chime-Chillo.
Isn't that like that?
It goes chime chime, and its song is so soothing.
Right? Wasn't that James's plan is to capture a bunch of them?
No, he has one.
Oh.
And whenever he wanted one when he was a boy, but when he went to buy one, he couldn't get it. And then he finds one later, and whenever they get blasted off, it goes chime chime. It's like, oh.
What about like a Numel?
There's also like Pokemon with incredibly soft fur.
Like, didn't James have a Numel that heated his bed when he was a kid?
Yes.
Like, that would be kind of nice. A little Numel in there. Or, like, a really soft... Yeah, like, is there... Like, do you think a Snorlax would be comfortable to sleep on?
You'd have to feed it.
That would be difficult, yeah. A Chansey would be hard to feed as well.
Is there a Pokemon that produces food for free?
Because, yeah, I'm thinking right now...
Like a grass type that just produces tons of food.
I've got my Chansey.
Yeah.
And I've got my Alakazam. I need to, like... Alakazam I could probably feed, like, lettuce, but the Chansey, that's going to be taking a whole lot of food, right?
Yeah, so a Miltank. It eats grass.
But like, I need something to finance this operation, is what I'm thinking, right? But I could just, like, get a job as, like, a delivery person, right? Just like, here, I'll teleport your stuff across the world, no problem. But then, the problem is, once you have a Pokemon, this is where I always go with superpowers. The moment you have a Pokemon, you're a target. Everyone wants your Pokemon.
Yeah, but they're caught in Master Balls, and people can't steal those.
I could just take the Master Ball. Like, that is what Team Rocket does, is steal Pokemon.
Yeah, so, you're a target.
Yeah.
You've got Alakazam.
Yeah, but still, I think I don't...
Give it confusion, and it can make people forget it existed.
But there's, like, a lot of people. You know, they'll read about it on the news. They'll be like, oh...
No, but you could be like a shadow of inexistence.
Yeah, I don't want to be. Just, like, I don't... If I want to make my delivery business take off, I can't just... You know, like, they'll be like, hey, this guy's in two places at once. What's going on here? So I need a Pokemon that can protect me from danger at all times. Ever vigilant.
So that is a Gardevoir.
Well, I think they might sleep. Like, there's got to be... Like, isn't there, like, a Argus-type Pokemon? Like, I got... Never sleeping, always watching.
It's probably one of them.
Always protecting. Or like what if someone tries to steal my Pokemon?
Tyranitar.
Yeah. Can I like if someone steals my Pokemon, that would make me sad.
Yeah, but they're not going to be loyal to them. And also, who would steal your Pokemon if you have a Tyranitar?
Like a Groudon.
You've got Gojira. The Tyranitar. Or a Dragonite.
Or like a Gyarados.
Or a Charizard.
Or an Onix. So I want a Pokemon that's like... Do you think Alakazam could handle the logistics of keeping me safe? Like
5... yeah, I think so.
But why isn't he doing that in the Pokemon universe already? Is he getting countered by all the other Alakazams?
Yeah.
And this, like, lock of intelligence? Yeah. Like, they can't... Like, why isn't Sabrina the ruler of Earth?
Because she doesn't want to be.
So I think... Well, in that case, the Chimchime or whatever, Blissey... No. Oh, yeah, sure, why not Blissey? Instead of Chansey. So I'll take a Blissey.
The evolution?
Yeah. I'll take a Blissey. I'll take a Chimchime. And I will take... an Alakazam.
Okay.
I'm sure Blissey as a name is like... That's got to be good, right?
Yeah.
Unless Ho-Oh can make you fly or something.
I'd take Mewtwo. He created an island.
But you said you can't have wishes.
Yeah, that's not a wish.
That's basically a wish-granting Pokemon.
I take Arceus. That's a wish cast.
Yeah, you can't just take Mewtwo for wish
I
granting.
take Reggie Ice, Reggie Geo, and Reggie whatever. I'll take 3 Reggies.
There's like 5 now.
The other 2 suck.
Yeah.
What would I take? The Pokemon with incredibly soft fur is Eevee? Flareon.
Flareon. See, I told you I was a Flare.
Yes, Flareon. Yes. I would take a Flareon.
Yeah.
And a Vaporeon.
Yeah.
And a Jolteon.
Mm.
I just have 3 giant dogs.
Aren't they little?
They're like that big.
Okay. Yeah, they're not huge.
Well, no, sorry, Eevee's like that big. They're much bigger.
Would you, though? Would you actually want those?
No.
Like a Jolteon?
No.
Or Vaporeon, really?
No.
Now, Vaporeon would be easy to take care of. You just chuck it in the water and let
Just have a bucket next to your desk.
Yeah, you splash it occasionally.
I'd take an Umbreon because it would show I am really good at friendship.
Yeah. Absol can talk.
You don't want to Absol.
It's not a Darkrai. Absol, like the yin-yang.
Okay, I take a Soul Tomb. I don't think that's legendary.
Spiritomb?
Yeah, Spirit Tomb.
Yeah.
So I have a Spirit Tomb. And then I just need a Pokemon that can break it open.
Why?
Because there's like a 10,000 evil souls trapped inside Spirit Tomb.
Why would you want to break it open?
4,000 years of darkness.
What do you want? What are your Pokemon?
I think Alakazam.
Yeah. It'd be cool to have like a just big old whale lord or something. Yeah. But I think I'm happy with my choices.
Yeah, Alakazam.
I bet Blissey gives good hugs to me. It's like a big old egg.
I think potentially Gardevoir because it can know Sunny Day and Overgrow.
Yeah.
And so you can just grow like a ton of food with it. And you basically have a giant guardian spirit onion with you. And that's kind of nice to have that security.
Yep.
Although getting hugged by it stabs you. Because they've got that pointy thing.
One of those weird chimera Pokemon, like the fish with the tiny legs. Or the...
That really beautiful Pokemon would be cool to have.
Melodic?
Yeah, Melodic. Mm-hmm. Or a Dragonair. Not Dragonite. Something wrong with that.
But what would you do with a Dragonair? You just
ride it.
You just have a big old fish. Rather have a Lapras for that. You got the big shell. You can sit on it.
But Dragonair can fly.
Can they?
Yeah.
They're like snakes.
Yeah, they're like Chinese dragons.
Oh.
Ooh. I wouldn't want that for a flying though.
What about one of those ice cream Pokemon?
No, I don't want to eat a Pokemon. There is actually a move that just generates food that comes from the later generations. I don't remember what it is.
But I think, like...
I mean, a Meowth making gold, it won't crash the colony.
I don't think it makes that much. Like,
no.
You only get, 500 yen or something per fight, so... I don't think you're going crazy.
Actually, I produced a ton of money using them.
And I what's his name? Giovanni isn't, like...
Yeah.
Well, maybe he is finding Team Rocket with his Persian. I don't know.
Yeah.
What about a lowland form...
That rat that was...
No, I was thinking of the big old tree.
No. No, I don't like that.
Exeggutor.
I don't like Exeggutor.
But like the Alolan one.
I don't like that one either.
It's so good.
I mean, I have a list of Pokemon I like, but that's...
It's different from what you'd have.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I prefer Chansey over Blissey, but Blissey has got to be better to have, right?
Yeah. Right. mean, if I have a Doug trio,
Mm-hmm.
they could make me a castle. Because they're really good at digging. They could, like, carve a mountain.
Hmm.
Like, I could have a construction company.
What about a parasect?
A bug? A giant bug?
You could try to spread a plague of that, like, fungus on it.
No. I want a giant mushroom bug.
Or like an oddish, you slice it up.
No.
Some beef, bit of
No.
tomato. Mmm.
If I was going to eat a Pokemon, I'd eat a Farfetch.
2 for 1.
Yeah. It's excellent with leek. Pokemon. I've got 2.
Which Pokemon would you eat? I bet Blissey would be good. It's like a big fat. Whoa.
I would eat a Farfetch.
Like a
Or a
Moltres.
Slowbro tail.
Slow roasted Moltres.
Slowbro's tails are... They're poached for their tails.
That could be good. An Articuno to keep your room cool. Just fly around.
No, I'm not James.
You can have a Dusclops and then use it for pranks. You just stick it in people's houses.
Which is an eldritch ghost horror.
Yeah. It's like...
Oh, I was thinking of a ghost Pokemon, I just don't know what to do with it.
Scare people?
No. As lame as it sounds, I actually might go with Dugtrio.
Yeah? Just for digging out a big old house?
They're used for construction. And that's really useful to have.
So you got a Dugtrio, a Gardevoir, and an Alakazam.
Yes.
And I've got myself a Blissey, a Chimchime, and an Alakazam.
Yes.
So clearly Alakazam is the best Pokemon.
Yeah.
Although, if I had to give up anyone from my 3, it would be the Alakazam, probably.
I think I'd give up the Dugtrio.
Blissey, I'm keeping.
Gardevoir... I believe it can, in team fights, has a move which it can put protection on you. Which makes it so you share the damage you take.
I think you could just protect your whole team with, like, whatever it's called, Mirror Shield or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it could just leave a mirror shield on me. Like, just protect me from, like, potential harm.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, like, someone will come and mug me, but it's like, you're going to get in a car accident, it can protect you.
But if I get in a car accident, then Blissey just waddles over and stuffs an egg in my mouth.
You should get the the baby version.
That just has a stone.
Yeah, it just hits you over the head with a rock.
That wouldn't work.
What is the Pokemon? Alright, Chansey's Pokedex entry is it's a very kind Pokemon. If you're injured, it'll give you an egg.
Can I offer you an egg in this trying time? Yeah, that sounds great. You just get a soft-boiled egg whenever you're injured. You're like, oh, thank you.
Alright, if you were to take a legendary.
If I was to take a legendary...
And it can't be a wish legendary.
Okay. Ho-Oh.
Because it gives you a good life by looking at.
Yeah. Whoever sees this Pokemon will have a life of happiness or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that count?
Sure, you can do that.
Okay.
You know, I'm just thinking about there's a meme image which it shows Ho-Oh in his tower and the 3 dogs.
Yeah.
And it's like, our master, we are pleased you brought us back to life. We will serve you forever. And then it shows the 3 legendary birds and Lugia. And it's, I hate you. And the other ones are just reading and blowing attacks at each other. Leave me alone, you stupid birds. That's what Lugia's screaming at them as they're trying to murder him.
Yep. That's about right. What's your legendary? It's got to be Ho-Oh, right?
Ho-Oh's pretty good. Although I could take like...
Palkia and just mess with people?
I could take the Pokemon of Time or the Pokemon of Space.
Yeah. But would you rather, like...
Okay, here's the thing. Ho-Oh can bring things back to life.
Can it?
it brings the dogs back to life when they die.
Oh yeah, it might just be the dogs.
Yeah.
But I think the thing is, like, you could get a Palkia or Diagla, and you could do all sorts of crazy stuff with time and space, right?
Yeah.
But you can, like, work really hard to live a good life using your Palkia and Diagla, or you could just look at a Ho-Oh.
Yeah. Also, you have a giant bird that can breathe fire and fart rainbows.
Yeah. So I think it just kind of...
The farting rainbows is pretty...
Like, would you rather just live a good life, or, like it seems like there's only one choice in a way.
a Mewtwo...
Like, even if you had a Jirachi versus a Ho-Oh, right?
Yeah.
Like actually, Ho-Oh would be better.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because the wishes aren't necessarily going to bring you happiness.
Yeah.
I mean, with Jirachi, you could wish for a Ho-Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
But in the Jirachi episode, he doesn't really...
Yeah, it doesn't go well when they try to wish for a Groudon.
Yeah, it's not very good at granting wishes.
Yeah. I would take that water Pokemon, the giant flying blue whale.
Kyogre?
I'd take Kyogre.
Yeah. And then you have a
And
big
I
eye.
would go... No, and then I would manifest the destiny of Team Aqua.
And just flood the earth?
Or I would go with the Groud... Is it Groudon the giant?
Yeah.
I'd go with Groudon, and I'd go, global warming, ocean levels rising, we'll see about that. And I'd evaporate the oceans.
Wow.
Then make more land mass. So I could purchase real estate.
It's a lot of housing themed stuff going on here, I see.
It's on my mind.
All right.
I had a client the other day.
Yeah.
Who was telling, he's like this old man, and we're in his house. He's like, yeah, the first house I bought was for $15,000. And I was like, oh, that's not bad. And I thought about that. I was like, what? And then I sold it for $20,000, and I bought my next house for $60,000. And I was just, it's like, yeah, it's really hot. He's like, yeah, I've got 12 grandkids, and I think about how tough it'll be for them with housing, and I've got 5 kids, and I also think about them.
Jeez, yeah. I mean, that was probably worth like $45,000 back in the day when he bought it or something, you know. But like in today's money.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's so much cheaper. It's crazy, or more expensive.
Yeah, no, the 15,000 that's 1,500.
And I've heard people say the quality of the housing has improved with regulations and whatnot, but I don't think people care so much. Like, I'd rather have a house than a good house.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'd rather have a bad house than no house at all, right?
Yeah.
That's sort of all these houses are great for the people that don't live in them.
And also, you say that quality's improved. It depends on where you are, because a lot of houses are actually really low quality, especially these mass-produced suburban houses in the States.
And especially if you're just going in there and you're sharing it with 6 other people anyways, right? So it's like...
Yeah, well, even then, like, there's these channels I follow of house inspectors. And the one guy, he said, why don't I ever show any good houses? Well, when I find one, I'll show it to you. And that was his rebuttal.
Yeah.
He's like, I want to show people good houses.
Yeah.
It's like these new builds, and they're all really low quality and have a ton of problems.
Yeah, well, hopefully it'll all be fixed with... I don't know.
Alright, my 3 Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's going to be Abra.
Yeah.
Because it teleports. It's going to be Slugma. And it will be Gardevoir. So Gardevoir will protect Abra from the fire damage. Then Abra will teleport Slugma around the world. And I shall wipe it out with fire.
That seems messed up. That's messed up. I got a Blissey, Chimchime, and Alakazam. And I'm going... I didn't sleep much last night, so I think I'll just call it here.
Yeah.
Yeah, alright. That was March Madness and Pokemon of choice, right?
Yes. And I will steal your Pokemon with my Dug Trio.
With your Dug Trio?
They'll dig a hole under your house and I'll steal you.
But my Alakazam already...
I have Alakazam though. They counter each other. Their brains don't
you just
work.
ruined my Alakazam.
Yeah.
I don't want an Alakazam anymore. I'm getting Typhlosion again. But now if I have a Typhlosion, I don't need a Blissey.
I mean, one of the Pokemons I actually did want to get was a Ninetales.
Yeah.
Because each of his tails contains a wish, but we said no wishes.
No wishes, yeah.
But I don't want it for the wishes. I just really like them.
All right. Good night. No, goodbye. That's the one. Sleep well.